بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Hello my dear students, this is Mr. Hussein Ramadan with you. Welcome to a new lesson in our new book this year, the Mega Goal 1 for the first secondary students. We are still in Unit 1, which is Big Changes. Today we are going to have Lesson 3. Pay attention. If you can remember now with me, the previous lesson, Lesson 2, we have divided it into two parts, at which we have talked about grammar. We have talked about certain tense such as simple present, present progressive, simple past, and present perfect. Now, this lesson is about or considered a flashback related to the grammar we have studied before. Look at this question. Complete the email with the correct forms of verbs with the appropriate tense. Hi Martin, how's it going? I hope you are well and that you don't work too hard. Here, the writer get the infinitive of the verb and the negative word not to use it in the suitable appropriate tense. Your very life in Britain be very different from the way it is in Santo Domingo. Most international students live in dorms for the first year of study. The dorms are places that help new students gradually settle into life in the UK and meet other students like them. In the third year, the university encourages students to find off-campus accommodation. We have the word accommodation related to housing. When a new student go into a new town or a new country, he must take care of two things or two items, which are accommodation and catering. Accommodation related to housing, catering related to eating. I blank be lucky when I first arrived at the university. I get a nice, comfortable room. I have a neighbor from Ghana who is also my friend. It be winter here now, and I not see the sun since I arrived. While you swim in the warm ocean, I wear a raincoat. When I apply for this scholarship, I know it be great opportunity, and I want the experience of living abroad. I really like this country, but I miss you, and sometimes I feel really right back soon. Best regards, Fernando. Here, we can stop to remember the form of the email. We begin with greeting our friend, or the receiver has a certain introduction to fulfill with a certain statement, to wish him best wishes, and to put our signature. So let's transfer into the answer. How's it going? I hope you are well and that you aren't working too hard, because he's talking about this time. Now, university life in Britain is, because it's a fact, is very different from the way it is in Santo Domingo. It's a fact ever that university life in Britain is very different from the way it is in Santo Domingo. Most international studies live in dorms for the first year of study. It's a fact again, so we use the simple present with the infinitive. The dorms are places that help new students gradually settle in life in the UK and meet other students like them. So it's a fact. For the third time, to express a fact, we use the simple present, which is infinitive with plural and infinitive with s, es, or ies with the singular subject. In the second or third year, the university encourages students to find off-campus accommodation. I was lucky when I first arrived, because he's talking about a past event or tell a story of some events that happened in the past. So he used the simple past, which is the past of the verb to. I was. Was is the past of the verb to be, which is in present. Am is and are, but in the past it is was and were. I was lucky when I first arrived. A simple past with the past of the verb. That regular verb ends with d, ed, or ied. Arrived at the university. Again, we are still talking about the past. I got a nice, comfortable room. Here he is transferring into another tense. I have a neighbor from Ghana who is also my friend, because the writer is talking about the present time with the neighbor in his door. It's when you're here now. Pay attention with the word now. It's a key word for the present. So the verb to be is coming in present, which is with with it. It is when you're here now. And I haven't seen the sun since I arrived. Since is a very famous keyword for the present perfect. So we have used the present perfect form, which is formed by have or has with the past participle. And here we have used the have in the negative form, which is haven't, with the past participle of the verb see, which is seen. So, and I haven't seen the sun since I arrived. And if the word since comes between two sentences, the first sentence is in the present perfect and the second one after since is in the simple past. While you are swimming in the warm ocean, I am wearing, because he is talking about the present. Something is happening right now. So he uses the present progressive form, which is am, is, or are, the verb to be in present, followed by the infinitive and ing. Raincoat. I am wearing a raincoat. When I applied for this scholarship, I knew it was a great opportunity and I wanted the experience of living abroad. He is talking and going back to talk about the previous or the past events that he has done before. I really like this country, but I miss you, and sometimes I feel really homesick, because he's talking about a fact in himself now. Right back soon, he is fulfilling and concluding the email, wishing a best wishes, best regards, Fernando. Now, listen to the information about immigrants in the past. Answer true or false. Now you are going to listen to a certain track and to answer these questions. Read these questions before listening and during listening, and pay attention to a very important matter. Generally, in tracks, especially related to education, the questions go side by side with the consequence of the track itself. How is that? That means that question number 1, you can find it or the answer of it at the beginning of the track. Question number 2, in the followed or on the following sentence. Number 3, number 4, go side by side with the consequence of the track itself. Now pay attention and listen carefully.
Page 10. 5. Listening. Listen to the information about immigrants in the past. Answer true or false.
For centuries, people have made major changes in their lives. Many have moved to other countries in search of new lives. One of the great periods of immigration was between 1880 and 1920. At that time, 23 million immigrants arrived in the United States. Most of them came from poor towns and villages in southern and eastern Europe. They had one thing in common. They believed that in the United States, life was going to be better for them. It was the land of freedom and prosperity. Most of these immigrants were able to get just enough money to pay for the trip across the ocean by boat. Many arrived without any money to their names. Often the father of a family came first and found work. Then he sent for his wife and children. The trip across the ocean for poor immigrants was terrible. Men, women, and children stayed in crowded and smelly compartments deep down in the hold of the ship. They had no showers, and there were no dining rooms for them. They went up on deck to get food from huge pots. This was the price they had to pay to get to the New World. On their arrival in the United States, they saw the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor. But they weren't free to enter America right away. When immigrants landed in New York, ferry boats took them to Ellis Island, where immigration officers questioned the new arrivals and doctors examined them. Those who failed the medical exam had to go back to their native countries. Sometimes, if a child was ill, the entire family had to return. Ellis Island became known as Heartbreak Island among immigrants.
Have you listened? You can replay the track again or this slide and pay attention of a very important point related to listening. What is it? You can see there are 6 questions. And generally in education field, you can notice that the track goes consequently with the consequence of the questions themselves. What's the meaning of it? That means that the questions are going side by side with the track from the beginning to the last, such as the question number 1 had the answer at the first of the track, number 2 in the consequence or the following sentence, and so on till the end. And it's generally, but it isn't usual. So you can replay the track and to pay attention of each, and you can pause the track many times according to the questions and to answer it peacefully. Number 1, many immigrants came to the United States in the late 18th and early 90s. Number 2, the voyage across the ocean was hard, but most immigrants had comfortable compartments on ships for sleeping and eating. Number 3, many of the immigrants were poor. Number 4, at Ellis Island, the rule of officials was to give immigrants information about the United States. Number 5, people who were sick had to go back to their native countries. Number 6, Ellis Island became known as Heartbreak Island among immigrants. Which is true and which is false? Now you can replay the track again and to pay attention of the speech and to answer the questions. And after answering, you can revise your answering through this slide, which is the answer for these questions. Number 1, true. Number 2, false. Number 3, true. Number 4, false. Number 5, true. Number 6, true. That's for now. I hope you get benefit from this lesson. Waiting for you for the next lesson, inshallah. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
مدارس رياض الصالحين، مستقبل واعد لجيل صاعد.